It's the Fox 5 News Block.
Ahead on the news block today, the countdown is on for one of the world's biggest celebrations of the new year. The preparations now underway for New Year's Eve, the ball drop in Times Square, and it is something everyone needs to experience at least once. And also remembering the life and legacy of former President Jimmy Carter. A look back at his time spent in and out of the White House and how he is being honored by the country. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Linda Schmidt. Welcome to the News Block. We are just under 33 hours away from the ball drop at Times Square. And as you can see, the live look right now, final preparations have begun for the big event here in the city as millions from all over the world flock to Midtown Manhattan to see the annual event. Police and city officials this year will be on the lookout for pop-up demonstrations as they have been throughout the past 2 years. The NYPD says a big chunk of Manhattan from 39th to 57th streets will be shut down for all types of specialized patrols. Visitors can enter the frozen zone from 6th and 8th Avenues. Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch says New York has prepared a cavalcade of resources for New Year's Eve.
That includes members of some of our elite specialized units, including our emergency services unit, who will be strategically deployed throughout the area on rooftops, our K-9 teams who will patrol with bomb-sniffing dogs, our aviation unit who will be in the skies scanning the event and the surrounding areas with special attention to the bridges and other landmarks. And of course, our drones will be deployed overhead to monitor the crowds in real time and watch for any suspicious or unusual activity.
As always, every year, the NYPD all over this. Street closures in the area will begin at 4 a.m. with much of the zone frozen by early afternoon. Also, backpacks, large bags, alcohol, and umbrellas are banned. And the main star of the show tomorrow night had a dress rehearsal this afternoon. This morning, organizers did a test of the ball drop and the countdown to 2025 in Times Square. This year's ball, beautiful as ever, is covered with over 2,600 Waterford crystal triangles of varying sizes, and it weighs almost 12,000 pounds and measures 12 feet in diameter. It's going to be retired after this year, though, and placed in the lower floors of One Times Square as part of an immersive arts and culture exhibit. Okay, the other big star, the weather. We're going to take a look right now. Audrey Puente is here with more on the forecast and a preview of the temperatures on New Year's Eve. But I got to tell you, Audrey, I have been loving this spring-like weather, but it's all about to change.
That's true, Linda. I think a lot of folks really enjoyed it over the weekend, where yesterday we were 1 degree shy of the record high of 70 degrees. It's still mild across the region, and this morning we start off with a little bit of rain from leftover from last night, but now that is long gone. It is now shifted over towards New England, and we're left with mainly dry conditions now with just some clouds decorating the sky. There's a couple of rain showers well off to our northwest here, probably clipping portions of Sullivan County with an isolated shower. Same thing for Ulster County, but everyone else should stay dry with generally a mix of sun and clouds as we go through the rest of our Monday here. Tonight will be quiet across the region, and temperatures are pretty mild at the moment. We're in the 50s across the region. Now keep in mind our normal high temperature should be in the mid 40s, so we're well above that in Islip, where it's 58 degrees. It's 53 out in East Hampton, 56 in Bridgeport, 54 for you in White Plains. We're in the 50s in Poughkeepsie and Sussex. Monticello is a little bit cooler now with 46 degrees, but that's actually not too bad considering it's December 30th here. Our winds a little brisk at times. They're sustained between 10 and 20 miles per hour on average. They're coming out of the southwest, and it's that southwest wind direction which is helping to bring in the milder weather across the region. The winds are blustery at times, though. They're gusting to 28 miles per hour in Central Park right now, 24 in Islip, 25 in Bridgeport, and 30 miles per hour over towards Newark. As we go through the rest of the evening, we're expecting dry weather. We'll go mostly clear tonight as temperatures stay above average for this time of year. If you're planning to head out to Times Square for the ball drop tomorrow night, you want to bring your wet weather gear. We're expecting rain early in the evening, hoping it will taper off by midnight. At the midnight hour, the temperature will be at a comfortable 45 degrees, and we're going to start off with the weather pretty quiet for 2025. I'll have the details coming up. Linda?
All right, Audrey, thank you. Well, the nation remains in mourning today for the loss of former President Jimmy Carter, who died yesterday after nearly 2 years in hospice care. Services are now being organized to honor the 39th president of the nation in the nation's capital. That's going to be taking place on January 9th, and then in his hometown of Plains, Georgia. With more on the life of the longest living president in the country's history, Here is Fox 5's Robert Moses.
Flags in Washington and all across the country will fly at half-staff for the next 30 days at the direction of President Joe Biden in memory of his longtime friend, Jimmy Carter.
Jill and I lost a dear friend. I've been hanging out with Jimmy Carter for over 50 years, it dawned on me.
The president announced that a state funeral will be held for the former president in Washington on January 9th, which will also be a national day of mourning. Former President Carter died at his home in Plains, Georgia yesterday at 100 years old, about 22 months after he entered hospice care. President-elect Donald Trump said, "We all owe him a debt of gratitude." Former President Barack Obama said President Carter taught all of us what it means to live a life of grace, dignity, justice, and service. In 1946, 1 month after he graduated from the Naval Academy, he married Rosalind Smith, whom he had known since childhood. The Carters were married for more than 77 years until her death last year. The former president served as a Georgia state senator and governor before he ran for president in 1976, when he officially received the Democratic nomination at the party's convention at Madison Square Garden. He beat Gerald Ford, who had replaced Richard Nixon following his resignation.
I, Jimmy Carter, do solemnly swear.
Former President Carter's signature achievement in the White House came in 1978 when he brokered a peace deal between Egyptian President Anwar Sadat and Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin. His worst hour came in 1980 when 8 American servicemen died in Iran during a failed attempt to rescue American hostages. The hostage crisis, coupled with high inflation, contributed to his landslide defeat to Ronald Reagan in 1980. But in many ways, former President Carter's life was only beginning. He won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002 and spent much of his post-presidential years giving back, traveling the world as a statesman, teaching Sunday school at Maranatha Baptist Church in Plains, and building homes for Habitat for Humanity.
I feel like we always get more out of it than we put into it, although we work sometimes very hard and overwork on occasion.
After President Biden won the 2020 election, he, along with his wife Jill, visited the Carters in Plains. Former President Carter left hospice to attend Rosalind's funeral at Maranatha Baptist Church last year, the same house of worship where he will receive his final send-off following his state funeral in Washington.
I've had a wonderful life. I've had thousands of friends, and I've had an exciting and adventurous and gratifying existence.
An amazing life. And for more on Jimmy Carter's life and legacy, you can head over to the Fox Local app on your phone. All you have to do is scan the QR code to download. And the NYPD needs your help today identifying a person who abandoned a child in the Bronx yesterday morning. Police say an unidentified person placed a baby girl wrapped in blankets within a tote bag in front of a residence on Reverend James A. Polite Avenue in the Longwood section. The baby was taken to Jacoby Medical Center in stable condition and remains today in the care of hospital staff there. Now, if you have any information regarding this incident, please do the right thing. Pick up the phone, call NYPD's Crime Stoppers hotline at 1-800-577-TIPS. I-80 eastbound is back open today after crews completed emergency sinkhole repairs there. This was something to get a look at. New Jersey DOT worked around the clock this weekend to repair the sinkhole near milepost 34 in Wharton, which is in Morris County. Repairs included excavating and stabilizing the 40-foot by 40-foot sinkhole. To repair the road, crews installed a base of stone aggregate wire mesh topped with more stone and a concrete layer. And then that was topped with additional fill and compacted before several layers of asphalt were put down to rebuild that highway. Congestion pricing officially starts this Sunday. You're going to be charged a toll entering Manhattan at or below 60th Street. Now, the peak hours are between 5 in the morning and 9 at night. Monday through Friday, and 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on weekends. It will be $9 on average for passenger cars, $14.40 for small trucks and buses, and $21.60 for large trucks and tour buses. Outside of the peak hours, there will be a 75% reduction in the tolls for drivers. Now, drivers who make less than $50,000 a year can apply for a 50% discount after the first 10 trips in a month. But that is just the tip of the iceberg, folks, when it comes to new laws that are taking effect in 2025.
This 50-cent hourly increase, it works out to about 3%.
Which Ted Rossman says is just keeping up with inflation.
It's better than nothing, but it's difficult to make ends meet.
Rossman is with Bankrate, a personal finance website. The minimum wage in the city, Long Island, and Westchester will increase by 50 cents to $16.50 an hour in the new year. In the rest of the state, the minimum wage also increases by 50 cents to $15.50 an hour. Rossman says a 50-cent increase may sound encouraging for workers, but raising the minimum wage can put a financial strain on employers.
In California, there's now a $20 an hour minimum wage for fast food workers. And one of the immediate consequences was prices went up and employers were looking for ways to make do with less staff.
Congestion pricing also kicks off in 2025. It is scheduled to go into effect January 5th.
When that happens, hopefully we're going to see a major reduction in traffic. And it's also an important source of funding for improving our mass transit system.
Congestion pricing is not the Hail Mary solution that Governor Hochul is making it out to be. A flat tax will always hurt those with less money more.
While drivers traveling into the congestion zone will be paying an average of $9 a day, some people looking for apartments in the city will be saving money.
We're seeing that it may save prospective tenants up to $5,000 when it comes to finding a new home.
Brooklyn City Council member Chio Say sponsored a new law that prohibits landlords from passing the cost of broker fees onto prospective tenants. The new law takes effect in May. If the landlord hires the broker, the landlord pays the broker.
This is a fee that's ranging from 15 to 30% of the annual rent.
Prenatal care is also getting a boost. A new law taking effect January 1st provides 20 hours of paid time off to pregnant women for doctor's appointments. It's the first of its kind policy in the country.
This means that they're not taking away from their personal leave, from their vacation time. And I think it's really important in order to encourage healthy pregnancies and make sure that people aren't skipping out on their appointments because they're afraid of losing their job.
All right, now, and circling back to congestion pricing, that is expected to take effect this Sunday. That is your news block for right now. I'm Linda Schmidt. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, and tune into the 5 o'clock news on Fox 5 at 5 o'clock and right here on Fox Local for all the news of the day as it develops. We're going to see you back here tomorrow. Have a great day.